The massive alien ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, like a falling star made of crystal and light. In the Seoul Defense Command Center, Commander Park Hyun-woo watched the monitors with steady eyes while his team worked around him. "Sir, they're sending another transmission," said Lieutenant Kim Yoon-ji from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel as strange symbols appeared on the main screen. "What do they want now?" Hyun-woo asked. "Same thing as before. They want to meet with our wise leaders and peace teachers. They keep asking about our philosopher councils." Dr. Lee Jimin stepped closer to the screen. As Earth's top expert on alien contact, she had been studying their messages for weeks. "Commander, I think they expect us to be like them. Their data shows most alien races are ruled by scholars and peaceful thinkers." Hyun-woo nodded slowly, "and they have no idea what humans are really like." Across the galaxy, Ambassador Vel floated in his crystal chamber aboard the council ship. His body was made of pure energy, shifting between blue and silver as his emotions changed. To him, this was just another routine first contact mission. "Tell me about these humans again," he said to his assistant, a bug-like alien named Klexanoff. "Standard primitive species, Ambassador. They have only recently achieved space travel. Their planet shows signs of past conflicts, but we assume those ended centuries ago, as is normal for developing civilizations." Veltar's energy form brightened with satisfaction. "Excellent. Another species ready to join our peaceful galaxy. In 50,000 years, the Galactic Council has never failed to bring a new race into our family of enlightened beings." The first meeting took place in Geneva. The humans had built a special facility just for this historic moment. President Martinez led the Earth delegation, with General Park Sung-min and Dr. Jimin beside him. The room was filled with cameras and reporters from around the world. When Veltar appeared, many people gasped. He looked like a ghost made of starlight, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. His voice spoke directly into everyone's minds, without using sound. "Greetings, people of Earth," Veltar said, his mental voice warm and friendly. "I am Ambassador Veltar of the Etherian people. We have come to welcome you into the Galactic Council and guide you toward true civilization." President Martinez stood up. "Thank you, Ambassador. We are honored by your visit. We have many questions about your galaxy and your people, of course. But first, we must discuss your planet's troubling history. Our scans show evidence of massive warfare. Do not worry, we will help you overcome these primitive urges toward violence." The human leaders looked at each other with confusion. Dr. Jimin spoke up. "Ambassador, are you talking about our world wars? Those ended over 70 years ago." Veltar's form flickered with surprise. In his species, emotions showed as changes, in light and color. 70 years. We thought they must have ended at least 700 years ago. Most civilized races stop fighting long before they reach the stars. "We're a young species," General Park said calmly, "but we've learned much from our past conflicts." "Learned?" Veltar seemed confused. "Surely you mean you have forgotten these dark times and moved beyond them?" "No, sir. We remember them very well. We study them so we don't repeat our mistakes." The alien ambassador was quiet for a moment. In all his centuries of first contact work, he had never met a species that studied their wars instead of forgetting them. Most races were ashamed of their violent past and eager to embrace the Council's peaceful ways. "Tell me," Veltar said slowly, "when was your last global conflict?" "World War II ended in 1945, Dr. Jimin answered, "but we've had many smaller wars since then. The last major one ended just a few years ago. The energy being's form dimmed with shock. You still fight wars, even after achieving spaceflight." "Sometimes war is necessary," General Park said simply. "When people threaten the innocent, someone must stand up to protect them." Veltar had never heard such words from a species requesting council membership. Usually, New races came to them seeking guidance on how to become more peaceful. These humans seemed to think their capacity for violence was not a weakness to overcome, but a strength to control. Perhaps, Velter said carefully, you would benefit from learning about our philosophy of universal peace. For 50,000 years, the galaxy has known harmony under Council guidance. We'd be very interested to learn, President Martinez replied, but you should know that humans believe peace must be earned and protected. It doesn't just happen by itself. As the meeting ended, Veltar felt deeply troubled. He had expected to find another gentle species, ready to join the galaxy's peaceful community. Instead, he had discovered a race that spoke of violence as casually as others discussed art or science. That night, as he prepared his report for the Council, Veltar wondered if the humans might be too dangerous for galactic civilization. They seemed kind and intelligent, but underneath their politeness, he sensed something that made him very uncomfortable. These humans were warriors, and they were proud of it. The Cultural Exchange Center in Geneva buzzed with activity, as humans and aliens worked together for the first time. Ambassador Veltar floated between different stations, watching his team study human culture, while humans learned about galactic civilization. At the first station, Colonel Kim Minho demonstrated Taekwondo for a group of fascinated aliens. His movements were sharp and precise as he broke wooden boards with his bare hands. The alien observers jumped back when the wood snapped with a loud crack. Fascinating, said Veltar, his energy form flickering with confusion. But why do you practice breaking things with your body? It's martial arts, Ambassador, Minho explained, bowing respectfully. We developed it for self-defense and to build discipline. Self-defense? What dangerous predators live on your world? Minho paused, surprised by the question. Well, mainly other humans. The silence in the room was uncomfortable. Veltar's form dimmed as he processed this information. You created fighting techniques to use against your own species. Dr. Park Sung-hee, a cultural expert, stepped forward quickly. Ambassador, humans evolved differently than your people. For millions of years, we had to compete for resources and defend ourselves. Competition made us stronger. But surely you have moved beyond such, primitive behavior. Captain Lee Jae-won laughed, not understanding how strange this sounded to alien ears. Primitive. Sir, we just finished the Olympics 6 months ago. 2 billion humans watched as athletes from every nation competed against each other. You celebrate conflict? Veltar asked, in amazement. We celebrate excellence through challenge, Dr. Sung-hee corrected gently. Humans grow stronger when we face difficulties together. Our greatest heroes are often people who fought to protect others. Meanwhile, at another station, the aliens were showing humans their own culture. Elder Thicmer, a being made of living crystal, demonstrated how his people resolve disagreements through shared meditation. When two of our kind disagree, Thicmer explained, his crystal body glowing softly, we join our minds in peaceful thought until we find harmony. Lieutenant Yoon Yeonji watched with interest. What if someone refuses to join the meditation? Refuses? Thicmer seemed confused. Why would anyone refuse peace? What if they're angry? What if they think they're right and you're wrong? The crystal being was quiet for a long moment. Such, aggressive thinking has not existed in our society for thousands of years. In another part of the center, General Park Sung-min was reviewing galactic military records with growing concern. The alien military advisor, a tall being with blue skin called Admiral Quilex, showed him historical battle reports. This is your most recent war? Park asked, reading the report on his screen. The Philosophical Differences War, 12,000 years ago, Quilex confirmed proudly. It lasted 6 days and resulted in 43 casualties across 7-star systems. Park stared at the screen. 43 people died in a galactic war. It was considered a terrible tragedy. Both sides agreed to end the conflict immediately when the death count reached such horrible numbers. Admiral, in our last World War, we lost over 70 million people. Quilex's blue skin turned pale. 70 million. That's impossible. No civilization could survive such losses. We not only survived, we learned from it. We became stronger. Back with Veltar, the cultural exchange was becoming more disturbing by the hour. He watched footage of human sports competitions, seeing people fight in boxing rings and tackle each other in rugby games. They enjoy watching violence, he reported to his assistant, Klexanoth, through their private mental link. Perhaps it is just entertainment, Klexanoth replied hopefully. Surely they do not actually hurt each other. But then Dr. Sung-hee showed them video from a mixed martial arts tournament. Two humans fought with incredible skill and intensity while thousands cheered. When one fighter was knocked unconscious, the crowd roared with approval. The winner receives great honor, Dr. Sung-hee explained. Fighting sports teach us courage, discipline, and respect for our opponents. You respect people by hitting them? Veltar asked weakly. In competition, yes. A worthy opponent makes you better. The most shocking moment came when Captain J casually mentioned military training. Every able-bodied citizen in my country serves 2 years in the army, he said. It builds character. You force your people to become soldiers. Thikmer's crystal form flickered with horror. We don't force anyone. Most people are proud to serve. It's part of growing up. Veltar felt his energy form becoming unstable with stress. Let me understand this correctly. Your people voluntarily train for war, compete in violent sports for entertainment, and study historical battles for education. That's right, Dr. Sung-hee said cheerfully. Conflict is part of human nature. We just try to channel it in positive ways. That evening, Veltar held an emergency meeting with his team. They gathered in their ship's meditation chamber, their various alien forms creating a circle of different colors and shapes. These humans are unlike any species we have encountered, Veltar began. They do not see violence as something to overcome. They see it as a tool to master. Perhaps they simply need more guidance, suggested Klexanoth. The Council's philosophy of peace has converted many aggressive species. I do not think these humans see themselves as aggressive, Veltar replied slowly. They see themselves as prepared, and that may be the most frightening thing of all. As the aliens worried about human nature, the humans were having their own discussions. In their quarters, the military officers gathered to review what they had learned about galactic civilization. They haven't fought a real war in 12,000 years, General Park said quietly. They have no idea what actual combat looks like. What happens if someone really dangerous shows up? Wondered Captain J-1. None of them knew that this question would soon be answered in the most terrible way possible. The emergency alarm screamed through the Galactic Council chambers, like the cry of a dying star. Supreme Counselor Vexalani, her normally calm telepathic voice shaking with fear, addressed the assembled representatives from across the galaxy. 3 core worlds have gone silent, she announced, her words hitting the chamber like hammer blows. Kepler Prime, Zeta Colony, and New Etheria. All communication stopped exactly 6 hours ago. The massive holographic display showed the approach of something that made even the peaceful alien races feel primitive terror. Ships emerged from the darkness between stars, not elegant vessels like the Council used, but geometric nightmares of black metal and pulsing red lights. Each ship was the size of a city, and there were thousands of them. The Cathara have returned, whispered Elder Thikmer, his crystal body dimming with ancient fear. The Devourers are here. Admiral Quilex, whose military position had been mostly ceremonial for 10,000 years, stood before the Council with hands that trembled slightly. His blue skin had gone pale as he delivered his report. Our defense fleet, at Kepler Prime, engaged the enemy 14 minutes after first contact. The battle lasted exactly 14 minutes. We lost everything, 300 ships, 50,000 crew members. The enemy lost nothing. Ambassador Veltar, still shaken from his recent experiences with humans, floated forward. How is that possible? Our shields, our weapons, they're the most advanced in the galaxy. The Cathera learn, Ambassador. They adapt. Every weapon we used, every tactic we tried, they countered it within minutes. By the end of the battle, they were using our own strategies against us, but better. On Earth, General Park Sungmin watched the galactic news feeds in the Seoul Defense Command Center. The human military leadership had been monitoring the crisis since the first reports arrived 3 hours ago. Analysis. Colonel. Park asked his aide, Colonel Kim Minho. Sir, the aliens are fighting like they're playing chess with a computer. They use logical formations, predictable responses, minimal casualties. The enemy machines are learning their patterns faster than they can change them. Dr. Lee Jimin entered the command center, her face pale with worry. General, we just received a priority transmission from the Galactic Council. They're asking for help. What kind of help? They want our theoretical insights into fighting adaptive enemies. They think we might have some academic knowledge that could help their scholars develop new strategies. Park stared at the screen, showing the alien fleet cutting through space, like mechanical sharks. Theoretical. Colonel, contact Admiral Kim Tae-hyun immediately, and wake up everyone in the War College. It looks like humanity is about to go to war again. The Cathera fleet moved through the Lyran system like a plague of metal locusts. Their ships didn't just attack, they consumed. Everything useful was stripped away. Metals, technology, even the knowledge stored in computer systems. What they couldn't use, they destroyed. Captain Lee Ji-wan, now serving as military liaison to the Galactic Defense Corps, stood beside Admiral Quilex on the bridge of the alien command ship. They watched helplessly as another world fell too. The invaders. Why don't they target the command vessel? J1 asked, pointing to the massive Cathara mothership that hung back from the fighting. It would be impractical. Too many civilian ships in the area. The loss of innocent life would be unacceptable. Admiral, with respect, those civilians are already dead. The Cathara don't take prisoners. They harvest resources, and that includes people. Quilex's scales rippled with distress. Captain, we cannot abandon our principles of civilized warfare. We must maintain our moral standards, even in defeat. Then you will lose everything you're trying to protect. The fourth core world fell within hours. The Cathara had learned from each previous battle, adapting not just to weapons and tactics, but to the alien way of thinking itself. The Council's logical, methodical approach to warfare made them predictable. The machines exploited this predictability with ruthless efficiency. In the Council chambers, panic was setting in. These beings had lived in peace for so long that they had forgotten what real fear felt like. Supreme Counselor Vexilani's telepathic broadcasts had become increasingly desperate. Our remaining fleets are pulling back to defensive positions around the inner worlds, she announced. All civilian populations are being evacuated to the sanctuary systems. How long can we hold them? Asked Elder Thickmer. Admiral Quilex consulted his tactical displays with shaking hands. At current rate of adaptation, the Cathara will break through our defenses within 72 hours. After that, He didn't finish the sentence. The transmission from Earth arrived like a lifeline thrown to drowning swimmers. General Park's face appeared on the main screen, his expression calm and determined in a way that seemed impossible given the circumstances. Council members, this is General Park Sungmin of the United Earth Defense Force. We've been monitoring your situation. Earth offers its full military assistance in fighting the Cathara invasion. Veltar responded immediately, his energy form brightening with desperate hope. General, we are grateful for any theoretical insights you might provide. Our military scholars are working around the clock, but we need new ideas, new strategies. Park's expression didn't change. Ambassador, I think you misunderstand. We're not offering consultation or theories. We're offering to fight. Fight. But you have no space-capable warships, no understanding of galactic warfare, no experience with enemies like this. No, sir. We have something better. We have experience with war itself. And these machines are about to learn what that means. The silence in the council chamber was complete, for the first time since the crisis began. Some of the alien representatives felt something they hadn't experienced in thousands of years, hope, but they also felt something else, something that made them almost as uncomfortable as their fear of the Cathera. They were about to unleash the humans, and none of them were entirely sure what that would mean for the galaxy. The recruitment centers across Earth exploded with activity within hours of the Council's desperate call for help. In Seoul, Tokyo, London, and every major city on the planet, humans lined up to volunteer for what military leaders were calling the greatest fight in human history. General Park Sung-min stood in the main command center, watching the numbers climb on the volunteer counter with amazement. Major, how many volunteers do we have so far? Major Kim Soo-jin looked up from her screen with wide eyes. Sir, 17 million in the first 12 hours. Every nation is sending their best soldiers. We're having to turn people away. Equipment status. Colonel Minho stepped forward with a tablet full of data. The Galactic Council is providing ships and weapons. But sir, these vessels were built for peace ceremonies, not war. They're beautiful, but useless in real combat. Then we modify them, Park said simply. Make them dangerous. Across the galaxy, Admiral Quilex watched in confusion as human engineers swarmed over the elegant council ships. The humans were cutting, welding, and rebuilding the vessels with a speed and efficiency that shocked the alien observers. What are they doing to our ships? Quilex asked Lieutenant Commander Park Hyjin, who was overseeing the modifications. Making them survive, sir. These ships have no armor plating, no weapon redundancies, no emergency systems. They're death traps. But they're so beautiful. ... Beauty doesn't stop enemy fire, Admiral. Within 48 hours, the modified human fleet looked nothing like the graceful alien vessels they had started with. The ships now bristled with additional weapons, thick armor plating, and what the humans called sacrifice protocols, systems designed to keep fighting, even when most of the ship was destroyed. Admiral Kim Tae-hyun reviewed the final modifications. Aboard his flagship, a vessel that now looked more like a mechanical shark than the elegant swan it had been originally. These aliens have no idea what we're about to do to their perfect galaxy. He muttered to his aide. The first human-crewed vessels arrived at the Proxima defense line just as the Cathera began their assault on the Fifth Core world. The galactic observers watched in amazement as the human ships completely ignored standard military formations. They're not forming defensive lines, Admiral Quilex reported in bewilderment to the council. They single quotes, hunting. Captain Lee, J1 commanded the lead human squadron, his ships moving through space like a pack of wolves stalking prey. The Cathara had learned to counter the aliens' predictable tactics, but the humans fought like nothing the machines had ever encountered. Wolfpack formation, J1 ordered over the radio. Remember, we're not here to save ships. We're here to kill machines. The human vessels struck at the Cathara flanks with vicious precision, then disappeared before the enemy could respond. When the machines adapted to expect flank attacks, the humans switched to head-on assaults. When the Cathara prepared for direct attacks, the humans vanished entirely, only to reappear behind them minutes later. They keep changing their tactics. The Cathara command network analyzed through its mechanical consciousness. Pattern recognition, impossible. Adaptive protocols failing. For the first time in the invasion, the machines encountered something they couldn't understand. Human unpredictability. Commander Park Hyun-woo led the first human ground assault on the partially harvested world of Kepler Minor. His soldiers moved through the ruined cities like ghosts, using guerrilla tactics that the logical Cathara ground forces couldn't counter. Target their supply lines, Hien Wu radioed to his team leaders. Make them afraid to leave their landing zones. The concept of fear was foreign to the Cathara machines, but something like it began to creep into their programming as human soldiers struck from shadows, destroyed their equipment, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. What truly confused the machines was the human approach to casualties. The aliens fought carefully, trying to save every life. The humans fought to win, accepting losses that would horrify the galactic species. Squad 7 is pinned down, reported Sergeant Kim Do-Haeon over the radio during one particularly fierce battle. Can they break free? Hien Wu asked. Negative, sir, but they can take out the enemy ammunition depot if they get close enough. Do it. Squad 7's sacrifice destroyed a crucial Cathara supply point, but the action would have been unthinkable to the alien military mind. The humans understood something the peaceful galaxy had forgotten. Sometimes, victory required sacrifice. The psychological impact on both sides was enormous. The Cathara machines began to malfunction when faced with human tactics that defied logical analysis. How could they adapt to an enemy that seemed to change strategies based on intuition rather than logic? Meanwhile, the galactic observers watched in growing amazement and horror as the humans achieved what their advanced civilization could not. They were actually winning battles against the Cathara. How are they doing this? Supreme Counselor Vexilani asked Ambassador Veltar during an emergency council session. They think differently than we do, Veltar replied, his energy form flickering with uncertainty. We fight to minimize casualties and preserve our civilization. They fight to destroy their enemy, no matter the cost. Are they, ... Are they more dangerous than the Cathara? Veltar was quiet for a long moment, watching the tactical displays showing human forces pushing the machines back for the first time since the invasion began. I don't know, he finally admitted, but I'm beginning to understand why they've survived so many wars on their own planet. The tide of battle was turning, but the cost was becoming clear. The humans were saving the galaxy, but they were doing it in a way that would change everything forever. The age of peaceful civilization was ending, and the age of human protection was about to begin. Whether that was salvation or simply a different kind of danger, only time would tell. The final battle above Terra Proxima would be remembered as the day the galaxy learned what human sacrifice truly meant. General Park Sung-min stood on the bridge of his command vessel, watching as his desperate plan entered its final phase. Admiral Kim, status on the volunteer fleet? Park asked quietly. Admiral Kim. Tae-Hyen's voice was steady, despite knowing what they were about to ask of their own people. All volunteer ships are in position, sir. 300 vessels, 15,000 crew members. Lieutenant Commander, Haijin confirms the antimatter charges are ready. Sir, Captain J1 said from his station, Galactic Command is demanding we abort this mission. They say the casualties are unacceptable. That's why we didn't ask for permission, Park replied. Simply, the Cathara main fleet had fallen for the trap perfectly. The machine intelligence, confident after months of adapting to every galactic strategy, moved to intercept what appeared to be a massive human retreat. 300 human ships fled toward the system's edge in apparent panic, chased by the entire Cathara armada. The aliens watching from their safe observation posts felt sick as they realized what was happening. They're going to ram the command nexus, whispered Admiral Quilex, his blue skin pale with horror. All those humans, they're sacrificing themselves on purpose. Supreme Counselor Vexilani's telepathic voice cracked with emotion. We must stop them. The loss of life will be enormous. But it was too late to stop what the humans had set in motion. Colonel Kim Minho commanded the volunteer fleet from the lead ship. Every person aboard the 300 vessels had volunteered for what they all knew was a one-way mission. As they approached the massive Kythera command ship, Minho opened a channel to all vessels. "This is for Earth," he said simply. "This is for the galaxy. This is for everyone who comes after us." The Kythera machines, suddenly realizing the trap, tried to retreat. But the human ships were faster, more maneuverable, and driven by something the machines could never understand: the willingness to die for others. The explosion when 300 ships, packed with antimatter charges detonated simultaneously, created a light brighter than the system's sun. The Kythera command nexus, along with its central intelligence network, vanished in a ball of pure energy that could be seen from 3 star systems away. Suddenly cut off from their hive mind, the remaining Kythera fleet became confused and vulnerable. The remaining human forces, led by Commander Park Hyun-woo and Major Kim Soo-jin, systematically destroyed the enemy ships one by one. The war was over in 6 hours. The greatest threat the galaxy had ever known was eliminated by humans who had been part of galactic civilization for less than a year. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The chamber was quieter than it had been in centuries, as representatives from 43 species tried to understand what they had witnessed. Ambassador Veltar addressed the assembly, his energy formed dim with exhaustion and awe. "In 6 months of warfare, the humans accomplished what our 50,000-year-old civilization could not achieve. They didn't just defeat the Kythera, they outfought them. They also sacrificed 15,000 lives in a single attack," Elder Thick pointed out, his crystal form flickering with distress. "No civilized species would accept such casualties. And that's exactly why they won," Velta replied quietly. Supreme Counselor Vexilani floated to the center of the chamber. "The question before us is simple, but terrifying. Do we invite these warriors ... to become our official protectors?" The debate that followed lasted 3 days. Some representatives argued that humans were too dangerous, too unpredictable, too willing to use violence. Others pointed out that without human intervention, they would all be dead or enslaved by the Kythera machines. Dr. Lee Jimin, now serving as Earth's primary representative to the Council, addressed the assembly on the final day of debate. "Honored beings," she said, her voice carrying across the vast chamber. "Humanity doesn't seek to rule your worlds or change your peaceful ways. We seek only to protect what you have built. That's what we've always done. Protect our families, protect the innocent, protect the future." "But you frighten us," admitted Counselor Zexeri of the Aquatic Depth Dwellers. "Your capacity for violence is beyond our understanding." "Violence is a tool," Jimin replied calmly. "Like fire, it can destroy, or it can warm your home and cook your food. The question isn't whether the tool exists, but who controls it and how they use it." The vote was unanimous, though many representatives voted with obvious reluctance. General Park Soon-min accepted the position of Supreme Military Commander of Galactic Defense Forces in a ceremony aboard the human flagship. As he took the oath to protect all galactic civilizations, he noticed how the alien representatives kept their distance, how they watched human movements with careful attention. "They're afraid of us," Captain J1 observed quietly after the ceremony. "Good," Park replied, looking out at the stars through the ship's viewport. "Fear keeps people careful. Their love of peace made them helpless when real danger came. Maybe a little respect for controlled violence will keep the galaxy safer." The final entry in the Galactic Historical Archive was written by Supreme Counselor Vexilani herself. "Today we learned that sometimes, to preserve peace, one must be ready for war. The galaxy's deadliest warriors aren't aliens, they're human. May we never need to fear them, and may our enemies never stop fearing them." The age of human protection had begun. The galaxy was safe, but it would never be the same.